Hey, welcome back to the Healthy Returns podcast. I am your host, Sharon Polsky, and today we have Andrew Fedino, and he is from New You Clinic, and we are going to be talking about building muscle for longevity. And building muscle for longevity is for both men and women. And this is a really, really good strategy, not only to improve your health in the long run, but also to just feel better. And so I think we always talk about growing old gracefully. And it's one of my favorite things to talk about because I had a mother who passed away in very poor health. And she wasn't very happy at the end of her life because she wasn't growing old gracefully. And then I had a grandfather that lived to be 103 years old. And all we did was keep him alive, but we didn't help him grow old gracefully, right? We didn't improve his health. So he was bedridden at the end and very unhappy, but he lived to be very, very old. So I really, really, really love talking about this topic about building muscle for longevity. And so I have this awesome guest, Andrew Fedino. So I want to welcome to the show, Andrew Fedino. Andrew, thank you so much for coming and talking to us today.
Absolutely. I got this random message from you saying, hey, got this idea. You should come on my podcast. Deal. What are we talking about?
That's usually what I do to people. It's like, hey, come talk to me for 35 minutes. And they're like, but what are we talking about?
Deal. I'm like, hey, anytime that we can get a chance to talk about some fitness things, that is one of the reasons why I really enjoy spending time with you is just your ability to get really down deep into the nitty gritty is always a fun conversation.
And that is exactly what this podcast is about, is getting into that nitty gritty, not only from a patient or client or member perspective, but also from a business perspective. Like, how do we grow our businesses by using these really important philosophies? So yeah, that's my love language. Okay, so Andrew, tell us who you are, what you're about, what your background is.
Fantastic. So I am Andrew Fedino. I am the Chief Operating Officer of a medical facility called New You Women's Clinic and Aesthetics. We are headquartered in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State, in the Tri-Cities most specifically. We have a couple locations at this moment, and funny enough, we are in a massive growth phase at the moment. We are just getting into the franchising portion of our corporation. So, hey, soon to come, you can have a New You by You. So we're going through the process right now of doing that. Historically, my history is in 911 operations as in the front lines, doing 911, being a firefighter or critical care paramedic on airplanes, helicopters, all that. A long history of critical care instruction to other practitioners of medicine. And then most uniquely, a long history in bodybuilding. So I'm a two-time overall men's physique champion of the state of Alaska, state of Oregon, and the unique combination between actually lifting weights for once in my life, right? And then combining that with physiology and anatomy and how that all works is a really fun combination. And I have all of that to thank to my beautiful wife as well, who shares the exact same history. So our dinner conversations,
which is really rare, but we're seeing more of it, which makes me so happy that fitness and longevity practices and healthcare is starting to finally merge. And I know the pandemic was hard on a lot of us, not me. I loved the pandemic. I got to spend 15 months with my 88-year-old father, and it was the best time of my life decorating our backyard. But for a lot of people, it was really hard. But one of the best things that came out of the pandemic were people were sitting at home, searching on the internet, and finally stumbled upon longevity. And it finally brought this idea of healthcare and advocating for yourself with the health and wellness and fitness industry. And now we're all starting to come together. So that's actually one of my favorite parts about what's happening today in all of our industries.
Awesome. Yeah. You should see dinners at my house. Not only are they amazingly nutritious, it's my wife and I chatting about all sorts of fun physiology and it's fitness, and it's a very unique combination. And our wonderful daughter gets the joy of living in a very unique household.
Well, and we're raising kids this way now too, which is also so, I mean, this is all very off topic to our building muscle for longevity conversation. But
Yeah, yeah.
what is really great about this is we are raising children so differently in 2025 than we were raised. We were raised by like, I was always in sports, but if it didn't have to do with sports, we never talked about longevity. Now we're raising children with this idea of eating healthy and movement and sleep. We're talking to kids about sleep and stress management and hydration. Nobody ever told us this when we were 10 and 9. So
No.
I love it.
It was just all I had growing up, for at least is the good things in my life, was don't watch The Simpsons and try not to watch Jerry Springer, and you should be just fine. No, my parents were awesome, but that should round things out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and our parents also kept us so busy in sports because that was going to keep us out of trouble. We were that generation.
That is true. That 100%, that was me. That was all my life growing up, was athletics, and I'm very thankful for that.
And that's what leads us to like these type of conversations and why we are literally experts at what we do. Because for me, I got introduced to gyms when I was 16 years old. I had 2 older brothers. They were going to LA Fitness. And my dad was like, if you're not at the stable riding your horse and you're not on the water polo team throwing a ball, you better be doing something. And so I would tag along with my brothers and I would go to the gym, but gyms were not equipped for women my size. Like you would get on selectorized equipment. It was all massively too big for us. The free weight room wasn't inviting. And so we went into the aerobics room, which was fine. But as somebody who wanted to do things with my brother and not feeling welcome in those areas, now it has changed so much. And I love it so much because now you and I get to have conversations about how building skeletal muscle benefits both men and women, and husband and wives can go do it together. And it is so exciting to me.
I'm 100% on board with everything that you said.
So why is this idea of building muscle so important for building people's longevity?
Great questions. Long story short, to just put it in a nutshell, muscle mass, the amount of muscle that we have in our body is amazing for short-term, mid-length, and long-term success. Obviously, short-term, let's talk about, hey, what are the cool things that I can do today with all this great muscle mass? It is providing quality of life. It is boosting metabolism. It got there in the first place. So more often than not, I had to have some stressor in my life to cause it. So in the short term, hey, it's fantastic. And everybody likes a six-pack from time to time. So that's great. As far as a transition into more middle length, that muscle mass helps us maintain that higher basal metabolic rate. It allows that metabolism to keep going. One dichotomy within the world of the fitness industry is what I like to consider low input, low output versus high input, high output lifestyle. The amount of calories that we take in, what macros we take in, is it high, is it low? We also have to have some sort of equivalent expenditure. If we're just getting a bunch of calories in and no calories out, that's hashtag America. That's all these calories in and nothing going out. So that muscle mass, and more specifically, to work on those things, that resistance training, that's providing that accumulated muscle mass over time. For long term, if every practitioner, every physician, any PT, that muscle mass for long term is going to be one of the key elements to success. And there's a lot of really good studies nowadays that even remove a lot of the exercise that we typically like to talk about and just tie in NEAT, that non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That is a great lifestyle, and it pulls on our soft tissues and it helps grow good, strong bone structures for us. So for all things long term, it's great as well.
And it's important for us to remind people this is important for men and women. We grew up in a generation where, like I said, women didn't lift weights. This is literally why the BMI is no longer applicable to most of America, because people didn't lift weights when the BMI was created in the 1800s, and women really didn't lift weights when BMI was created in the 1800s. But the thing that is so important is that women are now starting to understand that building muscle is important. So why is this important for both men and women?
Good question. So, I completely side with you, and I'm going to have to say that you would likely be the expert in answering that question. Is why is it so important for women? I get the benefit of, so we are New You Women's Clinic and Aesthetics. So we have obviously a ton of women who trust us with being able to answer that question. So myself as a man, I get the privilege actually of being a catalyst, being a supporter of the women who trust us to lead them towards that. For the women, why is it so important to them to one, gain that muscle? You're gaining way more than muscle. You're gaining confidence. You are gaining a metabolic rate. You are gaining the flexibility to use both carbohydrates or sugars, things like that. You're able to burn fats and use fats as a source of energy. For the long term, as a woman, let's just say that we are in maybe our 50s or our 60s, and we're starting to have some concerns about sarcopenia or some muscle wasting throughout time. Maybe
and we see a tremendous amount of muscle wasting in perimenopause and menopause. And so that if you have more muscle going into menopause, you're going to do way better on the outside of it.
It is so true. And honestly, in the world of fixing anything with inside the body, it is true that if I'm a hammer, I'm always looking for a nail. If I'm a neurosurgeon, I'm always looking at your brain. If I'm a gastroenterologist, I'm looking at your tummy. So at our practice, I like to think that I'm going to make up this total term right now. I like to imagine myself as a resuscitationist. All things that's fully resuscitative. I'm looking at your hormones, all of your endocrine system. I'm looking at your musculoskeletal system. Absolutely, we're going to do a lot of that. But I'm also looking into your well-being and your life cycle, fitting all of that. So women in specific, yeah, for those 50s and 60s, we want to make sure you're maintaining that muscle mass. Now let's just think deeper into our years for women. One of the things that we always try not to have is some sort of critical fall. If we have an injury, a fall that results in maybe a pelvic fracture, oftentimes that's going to be happening and going to be.
Well, that's our fear in both men and women when they're elderly, right? So
that is true.
This is our biggest. My dad is beginning of the podcast. My dad was 88. Right. Now my dad is almost 92 and still alive. But that is my biggest fear, is that he's got no muscle left in his legs and his arms. He's so small now. And if he falls, that is catastrophic to the elderly. They may be in a wheelchair the rest of their life. It's catastrophic. So I wish my dad was a basketball guy. He wanted to play basketball. He didn't want to lift weights. And I wish he would have, because now at 91, he's losing so much muscle. So it's happening to all of our elderly.
It is true. One of the things we go to our primary care physician a lot of the times, an answer that I hear from my patients will be, well, that's just the process of aging gracefully. Your hormones have now fallen off. You don't have a libido anymore. You're sarcopenic. You have some disease processes, and that's just the natural process of aging. And that's not that I disagree with the fact that it's a natural process.
It doesn't have to be the natural process. That's my issue.
Yes.
And so I yell at doctors about this all the time, because they say that to my dad. And I say, but it doesn't have to be. But the average, I'm like, oh no, we're not average. Polskys are not average. And so he'll say, oh, I said, I don't want to be average. I want to be optimal. Yes. And so that is the issue. Do you want to be average, or do you want to be, I definitely don't want to be an average American. And I don't want to be an average human. I want to be optimal, always.
Optimal human.
And so that's where I love it when people say, oh, for your age, your blood work looks great. I don't want my blood work to look great for my age. I want my blood work to be optimal. And these are the things that we aren't talking about.
100% correct. I'm not sure if you opened up my body, you took a scalpel and opened me up, you would not find a textbook inside of there. You're going to find a human with actual blood and actual being. And I totally agree. I want to be optimized.
Yeah. And also, I mean, really, we all run the risk of disease, especially as we age. And we run the risk of heart disease, fatty liver disease, type 2 diabetes. We now are calling dementia type 3 diabetes. We know a lot of these things are caused by insulin resistance. And what's one of the best ways to combat insulin resistance? Increasing muscle mass, increasing metabolic function, which starts with picking up a weight. Doesn't have to be a lot of weight, but picking up a weight. So how do you frame that for your patients when you really talk about this, reducing the risk of disease by helping them build skeletal muscle mass?
Good question. Oftentimes, I believe, I'm just going to say for the general public, the general American public, who may or may not have walked into my clinical practice. Let's just imagine any given person. The amount of want with inside their soul, the amount of want with inside their brain to actually go to the gym, which sure is a different place. It's a place they're not familiar with. It's uncomfortable. And honestly, the uncomfortability may or may not be a contributing factor of why they kind of got in this body habits in the first place. So how do I bring it up to my patients? I oftentimes find that the outcome of doing a tangible and effective thing that they might be more comfortable with, outside of the world of exercise, maybe it's just in some hormone management, maybe it's in a little bit of intermittent fasting or some time restricted eating, those types of things. And
things that they can control.
Yes.
Give them something they can control, and then
Yes.
they build confidence, which allows them to then, okay, I'm going to go for a walk and grab 5-pound weights, and I'm going to go for a walk and throw a book in a backpack. Or
Yep.
That's a great idea, is to give them something they can control first.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with that, they can gain some traction, and they can gain some trust with my recommendations. And oftentimes I find that getting that traction and developing that trust allows them to seek the confidence that they have to be able to make other positive changes. And you know what, funny enough, oftentimes they make those positive changes without even my prompting. They'll just, good things bring good things. We always say that you're the average of your 5 tightest friends, or whatever that statement is.
Yeah, your 5 best habits. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, you will find.
They also say if you roll in the dirt with pigs long enough, you become a pig. So it works both ways.
It does work both ways. Absolutely. If I can lead people towards a tangible and traction-filled lifestyle that is, medically managed towards the beginning, but I like to imagine that they can then graduate from the necessity to have a medical practitioner with them, and they can then be educated and empowered in making successful decisions for the remainder of their healthy life.
And do you use, I know you do eVolt scans, you do your BIA scans, you use it for all of your patients, not just weight loss patients. And do you really just use technology and data to help them get a better picture of what's happening inside?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we call it's precisional medicine. And I'm a huge fan of, yes, you got to study, you got to go to school, you got to learn all these things, and you have to use your best judgment. But if there is a tool that I can use, whether it be for genetic testing, whether it's a CT scan, whether it's an MRI, X-ray, I don't care what it is. But if there is a tool that is worth that investment, and if something as simple as an eVolt scan can lead me towards, hey, what are some of the questions I need answered? Well, what is your intracellular fluid? What is your total body water? Where are we at in our menstrual cycle? What are we at for our muscle development throughout time? That really helps me have a good, picture of the requests I'm making of the patient and how their body is responding. If I just say, hey, do the dishes, and I never actually check to see, did they do them? How good of a job did I do cleaning my kitchen? I just made a request without any follow-up. And so it's important.
Yeah, so it allows you to figure out who's complying, who isn't complying. It allows you to pivot too. So if I have a client that I say, I use GLP-1s as the example because it's being talked about everywhere these days. But if I have a GLP-1 client and they're losing body fat, but I start to see that muscle coming down, I know on a GLP-1, I can lose body fat and gain muscle. It's like one of the first times again, but they got to do something in order to do that. So if I'm not seeing that, what I'm asking them to do is not fitting their lifestyle because I'm asking for too much. It allows me to pivot and coach in a way that is more accessible for this client. But had I not done that scan and just said, hey, are you lifting weights? They're going to go, yes, no, maybe, when I have time. But once I do the scan, they know that I'm going to hold them accountable. So I don't even have to actually do the scan. I have to do the scan, but while they're on the scan, I'll be like, I haven't been lifting weights. It just doesn't fit with my lifestyle. But it opens that door, like you're saying, to these conversations.
It's true. It's true. Today I all morning filled with great weight management patients, and I had a great example of how it played a key role in determining what path I take with my patients. They were both dehydrated, both for 2 different reasons. One patient went on vacation, and now she was, as we like to say, post-vacationing. So she had some adult substances as she was there, and then came back and was like, sure, appropriately dehydrated. And I totally get it. And her body scan showed that. Everything checked off. She'll get back on the train. Love that. But I'm glad you enjoyed your vacation. Patient 2 was a patient who was just going through a long bout, maybe 5 days of flu, had legitimate nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, the whole shebang for a good 5 days. Yeah, obviously dehydrated. However, she was drinking a good gallon of water every single day. And oh no, you're drinking a gallon of water every single day. We're losing a lot of electrolytes and we're not replacing electrolytes. And you're still markedly dehydrated. She was also.
This is the key. We have to talk about this.
Let's do it.
So this is the key to the eVolt that I talk about with gyms and medical facilities all the time. It isn't just about our clients drinking the gallon of water. She did all of that, but she's losing electrolytes at a faster rate than she's able to produce them. She's obviously not eating because she's sick. And you can use a scan to say, look, you're doing the right things. Let me help you out. But
Absolutely.
you have to understand how to read a result sheet in order to do this. And it isn't reading skeletal muscle mass and body fat percentage. Your client can read those two things on their own. They do not need us, but they need us for situations like this. That is a great example.
Perfect example. I find the missing element from a clinical perspective for any of us owners out there who have an eVolt 360. Number one, great scanner. Two, the missing element isn't the fact that you have it, it's that you have it and aren't using it as deep as the opportunity is that is posed to you. Sharon, an amazing instructor of how to use it well. There's unlimited resources. I will teach you myself. Please, there's different ways to read it and understand it. Reading a book and reading half the words won't give you the context of that story.
And I will tell you a story because I had to do a demo of an eVolt last week. And the chief operations officer wasn't there, and he sent his trainers to come and scan with me. And I'm looking at the total body water and I'm explaining to them their scans. And I said, so what did you drink on the way here? I drank a Starbucks on the way here. I said, okay, what did you do today? I went for a 7-mile run today. I knew before I even asked the question. And then I talked to the chief operations officer later and I said, look, I'm a little disappointed that when your staff came to do a body scan and they knew the guidelines of the body scan, which was to be well hydrated, not exercise within so many hours of it, not have any caffeine within so many hours of it. And they did literally the opposite and didn't get the results that they wanted. I'm a little disappointed in that. And he goes, that's not a thing. And I go, wait, you mean water and BIA and science is not a thing? And he's like, that science just really isn't applicable to BIA. Okay. And it leads me to wonder, how are they reading result sheets for their clients? They're just looking at body fat percentage and muscle mass, which are okay, but your client doesn't need you to read that. They can read that for themselves. We give you 30 different elements of a BIA scan so you can be the expert in the room. So you get to provide your patients, your clients, your members with something they cannot do themselves. Otherwise, just stick a scanner in your lobby and walk away. You'd save money on staffing it. Yeah,
no, if it were to be true that water doesn't play an effect, a really good test I like to do, here's a pair of scissors. Go ahead and put this in the outlet. See what happens. As soon as you do that, I'm not going to do that. Well, okay, what's your body filled with? Because it is true that water will follow the path of least resistance. And you, my friend, are the weakest link.
It's so interesting. Okay, so back on topic. So we know that having the skeletal muscle mass is going to impact metabolism. It's going to speed up metabolism. But I hear from people quite frequently, I'm too old to get started in this. I'm 50. 50 is old, by the way. People live to be 100, but 50 is old. I'm so old. Should I start lifting weights? Do you guys run into that too with people that are like, I've never worked out a day in my life. Like, how do I get started? Am I too old to get started?
Absolutely. And I believe that I'm going to paraphrase what I feel that they're saying, which number one, the most important person in that whole conversation is that patient. And I wholeheartedly believe that what they say is true to them. And I want to understand that better. I believe what they're saying is I am here. I have driven to your location. I've walked through the door. I've scheduled this appointment. What do I do from here? It's new things and I'm uncomfortable. And
I'm scared.
The missing element.
They're scared.
They're very scared. The missing element is passion and support and to know that they're not alone. We are here and I am your teammate. From what I know, the things that I can do, consider me your teammate and I respect you for being here.
And whether that's medical or gym or personal trainer or private boutique fitness, you got to be in their corner with them no matter what.
You must. Imagine we're here and we're checking out at the grocery store and we look across the aisle there and we see all those magazines that say top 10 ways to get shredded for this summer, right? So we see that and we pick it up and we read it and yeah, legit, there's amazing industry leading recommendations.
I mean,
But
do you
who
remember
actually,
Oxygen Magazine? They gave you a workout every week. It was
there it
absolutely
is.
amazing. And
But
only bodybuilders and fitness professionals actually used these exercises, but it was available to everybody. But
it's true.
it's so intimidating to walk into a gym. You've never walked into a gym. I always tell people, you're not going to get hurt watching a YouTube video with 5-pound weights. Do it in your living room until you feel comfortable with each little baby step to get you there.
Oh, totally. Ooh, I like, this is a coined phrase in industry. Feel free to use this phrase. I coined it. Called an exercise snack. You're at home. You're just a little bit of exercise. It's not a full workout. You didn't need to put on Lululemon. You didn't need to go all the way down to the gym. You didn't need to be all pretty or feel intimidated. It's an exercise snack. You can do it in your shower, except it's a little slippery. Just do it somewhere that's safe.
And I think that's what's so important, because our goal is to become independent when we age, right? None of us want to live in a home. I said this during my intro, you didn't hear it. My grandfather lived to be 103, but the last 20 years of his life, he had no quality of life. He had quantity of life, but no quality of life. I want people to grow old gracefully. You said that earlier too, which I've been saying that for years. The only way we can create independence as we age is actually by becoming stronger.
True.
Otherwise, we end up in a bed for the last 20 years, and that's not fun for anybody. People taking care of us or us.
That's true. Yeah, quality of life is very important. I as well don't want to age, but age well.
So, Andrew, how often do you hear from women today in 2025? I don't want to lift weights because I'm going to get bulky.
Oh, definitely. That let's call it a misnomer, but it is definitely a statement.
We're still hearing it, right?
Absolutely, we're hearing that. When it all comes down to it, it's a legitimate fear. One of the things I always try not to do is put on my academic hat and say something like this. Say, you know what, that's just not going to happen, and that's something you heard. Because
by the way, it does happen to some women. So I never say anything anybody could call me a liar for, because I do know high testosterone women that they pick up a weight and they look like a Lego. I pick up a weight and I look like a Lego. I can put muscle on in my midsection like nobody's business.
In a second. Yeah,
not my bum. I would love to, but
that's what my lower body is designed to carry around my upper body. That is pretty much what it does. No,
yeah. You got it. Yeah, so I hear it too from women to this day but I agree with you. I never say anything that I could be called out on for lying, because they will be the exception to the rule when I say it. So what do you say to those women to really try to shift those gears?
Absolutely. So I validate their feelings and what they're saying and say, yeah, absolutely, that can happen. With that being said, of the women who we have seen, who are that big, bulky type of women, that, oh my gosh, number one, high five to them, but that takes years and years and years of commitment for the average, well-developed, large.
Do you ever relate it back to bodybuilding? Like, when I was a bodybuilder, I wish I could have built calves or shoulders in 1 year. And that's with perfect diet and perfect exercise.
True. Yeah, I oftentimes relate things back to bodybuilding and tell my patients, hey, I don't want you to live that life. I lived that life for a long time. And if that's something they want to do, absolutely. I'm going to be in your corner, but it's going to be me and you. We're going to get this thing done. And I'm going to have to talk to you daily. We're going to have to do check-ins weekly. At the least, I need to see you. But back to your question, yeah, they don't want to get big and bulky. They want to feel great in their skin. They want to feel feminine.
Yes.
And
they want to look good in clothes too. They want
good in clothes.
Now my clients don't really care about looking good naked. They used to. Now they want to look good in clothes. And so I think that's why they don't want to get bulky, is because they don't look as cute in their dresses. And so I do think that does, like, aesthetics does play a part in women's confidence.
It's true. For a female and for a male, having that muscle mass as we lose body fat, our body fat, body composition, perfect place to talk about it. Losing body fat and keeping muscle mass is a great way to look good. A female with muscle mass that is well hydrated mass, sufficient mass for her frame. that is very feminine. It provides actually more curvature. If you want an hourglass, hey, the top side of that hourglass is deltoids, is lats. You have to have that. You can't
I
just
say
have
it all the time. If you want pretty
Oh,
arms, you better have pretty shoulders.
this
Like
is
your
true. You can't.
shoulders are the key to having really pretty arms if you're a woman. And they've started, my ladies have really started to understand that and embrace it, but we talk about it a lot. Pretty arms, pretty shoulders, and we drill shoulders every single day in my classes because of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that full hourglass is important. You don't want snake butt syndrome. Just you want
Yeah.
all things rounded. And honestly, the easy part, muscle hydration. Hey, if you want to put some good muscle mass on, let's start with just hydration.
Yeah. And I will say on the muscle and body fat thing, I'm so happy you brought that up because when people first start on a weight loss journey and we stick them in the weight room, they will gain weight in muscle faster than they're losing body fat. And so they will appear a little bit bulkier, but because the muscle is building, they are more metabolic, they start losing the body fat. That process takes about 90 days at the and that's if they're eating perfectly, working out, everything. This is why it's so important to monitor their progress every 30 days because I have to show them that. Because if they look in the mirror after 30 days and they look bigger and they look bulkier and they stand on a scale and they weigh 5 pounds more, I'm done. I'm done in the water. And so that's one of the reasons why, for me, monitoring progress every 30 days is so important. I know you're really big on monitoring progress.
Assessment is the key to any area of medicine. If you just say, "Hey, you have a headache. Here's some aspirin. Bye," that's a complete disservice. That is a horrible job as a practitioner of medicine. I need to have that assessment and do a really good job at that assessment. And the scan.
And
The
I
scan
must
is a
say,
huge
like
part of that.
something like a BIA scan is it's not invasive. I don't have to pull blood work on anybody. I mean,
Yeah,
it really is so simple
it
takes
is.
literally 2 minutes to do a body scan.
It's true.
You
And
don't have to
honestly,
take your clothes off.
even from a business perspective, if we just shift into a business
Yeah.
perspective, hey, a capital expenditure is a thing. I got to buy this whole new thing. Evolt does it different. Hey, you don't pay for it all up front. It's a subscription thing until you guys change your business model. Hey, but it's going to be good. It's just your little payment here once a month. It all works out. So from a business perspective, honestly, it's a no-brainer. I've been having body scans in my office for a long time, and I'm
Yeah.
thankful to have the Evolt 360 for sure.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways to monetize it too. I mean, the more you use it, the more you can monetize it. So I always say this to people. I don't believe in charging for scans. To your point, assessment is the key to success for my clients. I don't believe in charging for scans. I say this very, very openly. What are you going to make? $25 a scan, but that's a barrier to the person doing a scan. So, because they don't want to spend the $25. But if I scan every single patient, every single member, every single client I have an opportunity to sell them supplements. I have an opportunity to sell them a nutrition plan, which I know you write some outstanding nutrition plans and you integrate intermittent fasting with it. So I can write that for them. Had I not scanned them and shown them the benefit of me doing these things, I don't get the opportunity to write that. I have the opportunity to sell them small group training or personal training. I have an opportunity to do fitness challenges where it builds a community inside of my clinic. And I love more than anything clinic challenges because now we're all in this together. It's like, why is Weight Watchers so successful? It's not because the Weight Watchers program helps a lot of people lose weight. It's because people realize they're on a journey with a lot of other people that are on the same journey and they feel supported by their peers. And that's one thing that we're missing that in medical. We see patients one-on-one and we don't really create community in medical. And I think that's what is going to get patients to start coming back into our clinics instead of going to telemedicine. They can get anything we do on Hims and Hers, but what they can't get is community and a body scan. And that brings people back into the facility and with us. So I love being able to do some kind of challenge inside of the clinics with people building those communities.
Absolutely, absolutely. At our office, given we're a women's clinic, we do aesthetics, we do weight loss, hormones, things. At this moment, our weight loss program has thoroughly taken off. It is by far the number one most popular thing that we're doing these days. And it's
And by the
honestly
way,
due
they
to that
could do it
support.
on Hims and Hers. They could do it online. They are
Yeah,
not
they're
because
not.
you need support to be successful and support comes in Andrew, comes in Andrew's staff, but also comes in his use of technology to ensure that you are doing it the right way, that you're going to be successful. And that is such a big key to this.
Very big key. It's multifaceted. It's a science. It's not rocket science, but it's a science. You got to do it the right way.
Yeah, it's still, people that think weight loss is literally something you can Google is so shocking to me, because Google is not an expert at anything. It's a silo of your own beliefs.
This is true. This is very true. I have nothing against that. That's absolutely true, actually.
So, Andrew, if you had any advice to give members, patients, and business owners alike on the importance of talking about building muscle for our longevity, what would that be?
Oh, in general, for everyone, about why muscle mass is important. I would say that I'm going to say there are, until somebody can prove me wrong, there's no negatives to holding on to muscle mass. The common factors as to why it's not going to be there in the first place, honestly, is no fault of any one individual's person. It is not their fault that they have sarcopenia, that they have these losses. It is just a byproduct of life. And sometimes we need to reach out for some help. Sometimes we need to say, hey, how do I do this? I saw a friend of mine, they lost a bunch of weight. Or I saw a friend of mine, they got really muscular. How do they do that? Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, the hardest thing that you'll ever do is saying, please help. How do I, that is literally the hardest thing. And once you take that step, once you join on with like our clinical practice, New You Women's Clinic, from then forward, you are guided. You have that support. And I'm really glad that you brought up how important that is. You are supported from here forward. And that muscle mass that you'll gain, that weight loss that you'll have, that is something you'll actually take with you for your whole life. If I'm going to get super cheesy, given my practice is called New You, I'll say it's like you're a whole new you, if I'm getting super cheesy. Anyways.
But it is. And I'm going to say, like, we talk about GLP-1s, you and I, because that's become such a big part of what we do, but we're seeing it in the health clubs. It's a big part of what they do too. And we keep hearing how they're not losing weight. They're only losing muscle. That's not true. I have scanned thousands and thousands and thousands of patients. They are losing a tremendous amount of body fat, and I can prove they are actually never dropping below optimal, but they've lowered the risk of heart disease and all these other diseases. But what I will say is that they had muscle mass to begin with. And that is why these weight loss clients are so successful, because yes, they're going to lose some muscle, but they had some muscle to begin with. And so they were really, really becoming successful, and they're keeping it off. And it is so fascinating to watch. But they definitely we need to monitor their progress, and they need coaching and support.
Absolutely. It is a predominant goal of mine. I guess, number one goal, listen to my patient. They are the number one most important thing. And if they say, hey, Andrew, I need to lose 50 pounds by tomorrow, I'm going to say, which leg do you want me to take off? I need to accomplish their goal. Now, with that being said, predominantly everyone wants to lose body fat and keep their muscle mass. And so I make that my responsibility. That is my devotion to them. And I'm going to give them all the recommendations to do that in a way that's sustainable, healthy, and achievable. So yes, they can lose body fat. And yes, we can maintain muscle mass. And funny enough, oftentimes end up gaining muscle mass as just a natural byproduct of ensuring their hormones are working for them. They could be 50 years old and 60 years old, and all of a sudden, their hormones are perfect, and all of a sudden they gain 2 pounds of muscle, 3 pounds of muscle, and they're like, where did that come from? I'm not even lifting. This is you being the actual you that you actually are. This is you healthy. This is what it feels like.
Well, and one thing that's really important, why you're successful at this, is when you use your eVault results sheet, you talk about BMR and TEE. And I probably should have talked about this much sooner, but if we don't explain to people that their BMR is 1,700 calories, they are going to eat below 1,700 calories because they think that's the way to lose weight. It is not. It's the way to shut down somebody's metabolism, and they end up fatter in the long run. It's why people gain weight back. So if we explain to people that their BMR is 1,700 and their TEE is 1,950, and we're going to put them in a 500 calorie deficit, but we're never going to drop below 1,700, they will be successful. But if you, like, for me as a trainer and a coach, to go through and calculate BMR and TEE and then calculate calories and then calculate macros, it is painful. It takes hours. Now the eVolt does it for me. I stick them on an eVolt, tells me their BMR, tells me their TEE, tells me their calories. And now I have these successful clients that to your example of the 60-year-old man that wasn't even trying to gain muscle, he lost body fat and gained muscle because you used the resource that you had.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it is without a doubt. You can look into any medical literature. It's going to say absolutely the same thing. Calories in versus calories out. There's no way to argue with that. With that being said, I love the more new studies that suggest flexibility in fuels, being carbohydrates versus fats versus proteins and how they are used. And yes, if you eat 1,700 calories of protein is very different than 1,700 calories of carbohydrates and how your body responds. And understanding that dichotomy between those two must be managed by an expert such as our eVolt practitioners, yourself, my clinical practice. That is a huge missing element into ensuring that a patient will be successful.
Yeah, and that's truly why I think technology like this is so important. People ask me all the time, well, why don't I just send my patients to get a DEXA scan? Well, first of all, you cannot send your patient every 30 days to get a DEXA scan because we're not going to expose our clients to radiation every 30 days. Right. Well, I really only need to track their progress twice a year. In what world do you have to track their progress twice a year? I know the first 3 weeks, they only lost water. So like when we're looking at weight loss, or if I'm working on a client that maybe his goal is building muscle, that's a 6-week goal, 8-week goal to start building muscle. But I got to show him his successes along the way or he's going to give up. And I got to be able to tweak his nutrition along the way. I've got to be able to do these things. And so I have to use technology to do that. So that's one of the reasons why I love BIA in general. And look, I don't care which BIA you use. Yes, I love eVolt. I work with eVolt. I came from the medical side of things and I've used, but I want people to track people's progress. That is what is important. Every 30 days, not 6 months, not 9 months, not 12 months, every 30, 60, and 90 days.
I 100% agree with you. It's a clinical disservice if by chance you're not seeing them. Plus, people are awesome. Bring them in. Have fun with them. Enjoy them. If they want to see something online or watch a video, they can do it at their leisure. They're there to see you. They're paying to see you. They want your expertise. Take that as a privilege. You're there to help them.
But also, even if you're a telemedicine provider or maybe you're an online personal trainer or coach, get a machine, get an eVolt, and have them come in once a month. It is amazing. I do a lot of work in telemedicine now with GLP-1s. When I have a patient come in to scan, they look so much better in person than they ever do on video. And I'm shocked by their progress. And I get progress photos from them. But nothing is like an eVolt scan and seeing them in person. So even my telemedicine clients, they come in every 60 days for an eVolt scan. And my online personal training nutrition clients come in every 30 days or 60 days for an eVolt scan, just so I can see them and connect. And that makes them very loyal to you as well.
Yep, can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that.
No. Well, Andrew, I want to thank you so much for joining me for our podcast. Absolutely. And we will be in touch soon. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So that was the amazing Andrew Fedino from New You Women's. And I want to just thank everybody for tuning in to the Healthy Returns podcast. Better health, better business, unlocking the potential of body composition. I am Sharon Polsky, your host from eVolt 360. And if you want more information about eVolt, you can visit our website at www.evolt360.com. And if you want to see more episodes just like this one, please subscribe and like so you don't miss out on anything we have coming up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ciao for now. The eVolt podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. The content shared here represents the views and opinions of the host and guests and should not be considered medical, health, or professional advice. This podcast is not a substitute for individualized care from a qualified provider. Please consult with your provider before making decisions that may affect your health and wellness. Any statements about treatments, health protocols, or medications discussed are based on personal experience or professional expertise and may not be suitable for everyone. Always seek personalized advice from a licensed professional who understands your specific needs.